Welcome back to Longbox Diving, where we explore comics and story arcs pulled from the long box. So we're going to do something a little different, sort of. We're actually going to kind of go back to our roots a little bit. What we kind of did when we first founded the channel was just to do story arc reviews. So I've been reading through X-Men Legacy, and a lot of good story arcs in here. So I'm going to start reviewing some story arcs, complete story arcs, so we can get the idea of what's going on in that story. So the first one we're going to cover is something called Suppressing Fire. It starts in X-Men Legacy, and that is 226. And this cover is done by Terry Dodson. You can see Danger, Gambit, and Rogue on the cover there. Very well done, with the fire going everywhere. And then we have it continues into 227, which is also a Terry Dodson cover. And it's a Rogue there going against Ares. Now, this was only a 2-issue story arc, which is nice because it's kind of compact and kind of together. But in the long run, we have things that flow in from the last story arc into this, and we kind of go out into another story arc. So some things are kind of maybe a little confusing if you just were to jump into the story arc straight on this issue. So we have Gambit and Rogue and Danger. Now, Danger again is the Danger Room. Gaining sentience. Apparently, Xavier had kept it in a state of not able to actually gain full sentience, and then finally released it into sentience, and so now it's a part of the team, right? So, in this time period, we have Utopia. So the X-Men are in San Francisco on an island out in the bay. They built this Utopia. They're going to protect San Francisco, etc. And there's a governmental agency, I think it's a government agency, that has come in to basically attack Utopia and what's going on with the X-Men. And so we got like Venom is there, Ares shows up, we have Miss Marvel, a blonde Miss Marvel, but not Carol Danvers, but another Miss Marvel that's also Miss Marvel, dressed like Carol Danvers, which was Miss Marvel, but now has some type of powers like Vision. Rogue is also in a state where her mind was, being all fractured from when she was a kid, and she had touched the boy and gained it, and it caused her mind to fracture. So all these years, and unable to control her powers, is because her brain was fractured. So they were able to go in there and unfracture her mind. So something with the Shi'ar, and Xavier is able to rebuild her psyche. So she's back to normal. It took a couple months, days, they didn't really specify, for her to get her powers under control. So now she can touch who she wants to touch, and she can touch and take powers to a certain degree from whomever she wants to touch. So she's not this dangerous thing anymore where anytime she touches, they hurt. But she also has no power. She lost the Miss Marvel power that she stole from Carol Danvers way back. She's not super powered in any way. She has to literally touch somebody and decide to take some of their powers and then absorb as much as she can take, and then it will wear out. So here we are. We show up in Utopia. Government agencies are everywhere trying to grab mutants. And so Cyclops sends the three of them, hey, you got to go protect this section, right? Well, there's a young girl there. Her name is Trance. Now, Trance is able to split her body into a spirit and shoot little spirit things. But she gets shocked before she can reabsorb her spirit. So she's in this kind of broken state. We also have this teleporter now, I have not seen this teleporter before this book, but she's able to go through doors and open, as long as there's a door, she can teleport to like anywhere. So she's going through, she's like, there's a special response team, she's grabbing who she needs to grab. But, Rogue gets sidelined by Miss Marvel. Now, Miss Marvel, again, this is not the same Miss Marvel. This one can phase. So Rogue tried to punch, and nothing. But this one's punch is just beating the tar out of Rogue, because Rogue's not superpowered anymore. And then we have Ares shows up. Now, you already know Ares was on the Avengers. Ares is the god of war, so he's a pretty strong dude, and he's also not a mutant. So Gambit's trying to fight him. Gambit's not doing too well at it. Danger tries to fight him, and again, Danger's not doing too good at it either. So you have Rogue that kind of flies in and tries to absorb his power, and she gets some of it, but he's a god, so it almost blew her apart trying to absorb all his power. And she does a pretty good job getting away from him and not necessarily defeating him in a sense. So there we go. That's our part one. So into part two, of suppressing fire, we have, they just finished off kind of fighting with Ares. And they kind of got away from Ares. The teleporter came in and was able to get the team. But the problem is Trance could not go through in her separated state. Because her spirit, so her body wouldn't go through because her spirit wasn't. So she ended up falling back to the ground. Of course, teleporter has no idea what's going on. Rogue finds her, and Trance is getting to a point where she's about to kind of explode. And they know if she does explode, that could be really, really, really bad for the people of San Francisco. So Rogue goes back and tries to help her. Now, remember, Rogue just kind of went through her own little thing. And her own little mental breakdown, her own little problems. All right, sorry for that little interruption. Tara decided to bark at nothing again. Because there's nothing there. But so Rogue and the team are trying to go through traffic. Things are exploded everywhere. Cars are blocking away, etc. So they get through finally through the team, and then we got Trance who's about to explode, trying to catch up where I left off. So Trance is about to explode, and we have Rogue going in with no powers again and kind of consoling this girl. Hey, I know what it feels like. I'm not being able to be in control. It's fear that's causing this for you. You have a specific mental thing that's blocking what you want to do and how you want to do it. So just kind of focus, breathe, and she talks her through pulling her spirit back in together. And that's when Miss Marvel shows back up again and starts beating the tar out of the team. Again, she's super strong but can phase. So Rogue still has some Ares powers, and there's a great shot here. Look at this. A great shot of her just knocking Miss Marvel through a tank. And they're fighting through it, and you realize, that's not going to work. So what they end up doing is Trance kind of gains control of herself, and Trance is able to hit when she's phased, and then so she comes to reality again, everybody else can hit her. So they just kept her off guard, and they ended up able to get away from Miss Marvel, though again they didn't defeat anybody. And that goes into to go back and report back to Cyclops. Here's what we did. So that is basically the story, Suppressing Fire. It's a very simple story. It was written by Carey. Mike Carey, and pencils were done by Dustin Weaver, inks by Ed Taddeo, color by Brian Reber. This came out 2009. 2009 it came out. So when the X-Men split into X-Men Legacy. So 2009 we have issue. Again, I forgot 226 and 227. And so overall, this is a pretty good story arc. Again, a little hard because it comes in with some information you may not have coming into the story, going out of the story. It kind of leads into some other things, so that's okay. So overall, the story to me was probably a 3. It was cool, but it was more about Rogue connecting with Trance and showing what Rogue's powers can do now that they've been fixed. And not really much else is in there. So it's an okay story. 3. The art was fantastic, so I put the art up at a 4, and the covers were great. The covers at a 4. So if you want a small, quick story arc, just a good, get in there and watch things get beat up and blown up, this was actually pretty good. Not a lot of story to it, but a lot of action, and it was drawn very well. So a lot of good shots in here. Yeah, I mean, like this one's here. See you get Danger blowing things up. That was really pretty cool. We have this stuff here, where Ares is getting just Danger's throwing the sewer top at him and kind of getting supercharged by Gambit. So some cool stuff, some cool teamwork, but again, not a lot of story per se, just more of a let's rescue the girl that got injured and help her deal with her powers and how to deal gain control of it, all that kind of stuff, and what's happening with Rogue now. So it was overall a good story, just not a lot, but a ton of action. So definitely a recommend from us here at Long Box Diving, and hopefully we'll see you next time here in the Long Box.